Hello guys, this is Abdurrahman Gilal. In our previous presentations, we have learned classes, objects, constructor, some access modifiers, and static and non-static methods and what to say attributes. In today's short presentation, I will be trying to explain you that how can we actually modify some properties or attributes of object using setter or getter method or set or get methods. So remember that in our previous presentation, let me draw quickly. We made a mistake in a spell while creating object. We said John and a spell was wrongly inserted. So let's say if I am making a class or making a give me a second. Sorry. Okay, so let's say if I am making a student object such as let's say Abdul, and then I realize that while creating its object, I wrongly spell ADBUL, comma 231. That was its ID. So now the spell has been already passed to it, and then the object has already got some value set to it. So how we gonna change the values? So you wanted to create object again, or you wanted to create object values or object variables. So let's say student name in here. That is only possible when we have our attributes or variables publicly available for the class. What if the variables were private, like this object was, oh sorry, this student name was private? In that type of situation, that's not easy. And some of the mostly, in examples of encapsulation, we most of the time make our attributes private so that we do not let callers to access our data. Better we just give them access to use our methods. So into this short presentation, I will try to tell you that in order to avoid that type of situation, we better learn that how can we use a setter or getter method. So let's jump to the coding directly. How can we do that? Let's make a class. Once again, I'm going to make a, let's say, person class, just for the quick understanding. We know that every person has some name, like a person, sorry, person name and person age. Let me make it person age. So everyone is having it. So now I'm gonna make it private, which means I'm not gonna give access to anyone other than my own class. So it means that if someone other class is calling this person, they may not be able to see. This is what we already seen in access modifier, presentation. That private means only within the class, this access modifier. Now, if somebody is trying to access the variables, they cannot. So if I have made the object called the person object or Abdul object there in the other page, we cannot. So let me quickly grab it and then just start making that if it's private visible from there or not. So we can just so let's make a main public. It's a method, sorry. Let's say public static void main is string args, and that's it. So I'm gonna make a person object. Person is me. I'm gonna make myself an object. So let me make my object. So now if I make it, so I do have these two things. Can I access them, for instance? For sure, no, right? Because I have made them private. So if I wanted to see quickly, like this, Abdul don't. So you do not see anything in here. But what if I make it public? So you're gonna see like as soon as I press the dot operator, I can see my person name because now I had changed its availability as a public. And that's the theme, that we don't want to give access to our attributes to the caller class. So what we're going to do is that we made it private. Now, if it is private, then how are we going to save the value? So first of all, that we should create some constructor. So we make constructor here, and remember that how we make the constructor. Remember, the constructor is a public method, so we make the constructor exactly the same name as we have a class name as a person, but we give parentheses. So we make the first constructor by calling its default value. So person name is equals to, I say, nothing or null or anything that you want to put. And I wanted to say it is having age and it is also 0, which means I am not going to give anything to it. Okay. And I'm gonna see, like, if I call this constructor here, because when I pass nothing, so by default, this constructor will be called. Quickly see if it prints something for us. It should be something because we have at least written something into it. That is name equals to plus Abdul dot nothing coming here. So because I have not given any access to variables, so cannot come because it's all private. So what we have to do, how are we gonna pass this value to the variable or to the caller method? This is where we need to learn the get method. But before we go, let me create a get method. So for time being, I am returning maybe string because name is always in a string. So sorry about the spell because S has to be capital. A string, I am gonna say get person name. It's good for me, right? So I have already set up this by default, so nothing should come here. So whether I put nothing or void is the same thing. So what should I return? I should return this dot person name. So when I say this dot person name, it returns a string. So that returns what is right now. It's just nothing. So nothing will be displayed here. Let's see. Nothing is a value. I'm sorry. It's not the. So we're gonna see get the person name. Let's run it quickly and see if it works fine or not. Okay, let's see. Are you okay? Oh, it's just loading. Okay, this is expected, so we should not pass anything instead of writing void. There you go. Name is nothing because we have called this. What if user wants to pass some values? Let's say if I am making Abdul, but I'm passing some values here. Let's say Abdul is my name and 231 is my, sorry, let's say 30 years old am I. Let me make young myself. So can I pass it? No, because I do not have any parameter returning here. So as we discussed in our previous presentation, we have to make a constructor called parameterized. Here we receive value from the caller, and we know that we just receive as x and y, just for the quick understanding. X receives the name and y receives the age. So now that's all set. So if nothing is passed, by default, this is called. If something is passed, this is called. Right. Let's run it. And now I'm gonna create object. Sorry, no need to create another object because I already modified it. So let's run it. So here, yeah, you see name is Abdul now. What if, as I told you, I made a mistake in Abdul, so I wrongly wrote Abdul. So now how are you gonna state my values? Now if I want to change here, let's say Abdul dot, but I only have person get person name as my method. So I cannot change. So every time I call my name, it's always like Abdul. That's wrong. So what should we do? You know that I can display the value. I can change the value in this class, but I cannot change value in the caller class. So what am I going to do is that I'm going to create another function, or sorry, method, which should be public person, let's say person stat. Sorry, give me a second. I should keep beside the method, yeah, here, so that you understand. Let's say I am going to say void, it's going to return nothing, but I'm going to say that person name. So let's say person name is a method. So what should I receive as a person name? Always a string, right? So let's receive in a string, and then I can now change here, as I told you, in the main, sorry, in the person object class, because that is the local variable here. So what is it? It's a person name. What should be the value? It should be the X value. So now anything that I want to change in my name, I should use set person name method, right? So this one is public, so I can make it public instead of, and likewise here, like maybe you can make it public. So it's public if nothing, so it's a package private, so I just make it public so anybody can use it. Oh, sorry, here. So now let me just quickly call Abdul dot set person name. Previously it was Abdul, now it is Abdul, and now I wanted to see the same thing. Now you're going to see if I run this program, the first one will be coming Abdul and the second one will be coming Abdul because I have changed it, right? So the other name, the gate person name will remain the same. It has nothing got changed and it is going to work fine. Let's run it. Quickly focus here. So you see here, the first name is Adbul, which is Adbul, but then I called, because it's wrongly passed here, then I called set person name as a method and I changed the value. So now it's fine. How about if we have age? So what we're going to do is that we should create two different methods for age, state age, and get age, right? Right now, I do not have any method to it, and I hope you can easily do that. So if you got any confusion, you can quickly, you can send me question or leave me the comments. But I give you a quick recap here that we learned in today's class that we can make a person class, and then we can make its variable private, and then those private variable can only be accessed within the class. So we make one constructor the default constructor and the other constructor as a parameterized constructor. So we pass values through the parameterized constructor. And if we got anything to change once we have already set the values into the object right here, this Abdul object, once it got the wrong value, so in order to rectify it, you do not have to create a new object, but you still can modify the value, but provided you have to create two methods here, which is called get person name, or you can give any name to it, and set person name. Set means I'm going to assign, get means I'm going to give the values instead of giving the variable access, right? So if you have age, so you're going to create two different methods, set age and get age. I hope you understood it. If you got any question, please do not hesitate to approach me. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.